Hey, 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 hey.
Hey, 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 how are you?
Absolutely great. Welcome back to Dating Differently.
Yes,
Tonight,
yes, yes.
hey, 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 hey. Yes. Topic is the silent killers of dating. And I'm Demi,
And I'm Dr. Conti.
and we are excited to be here with you tonight. You know that we have combined our expertise to create a strategic roadmap that helps you first prepare for healthy love so that you can confidently choose with clarity and sustain the right relationship. So, we all know the obvious things, right? That can end a dating relationship. We know the non negotiables, we know the obvious things. But tonight, we are talking about the things that quietly sabotage a connection before it ever has a chance to grow.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Conti, when you hear the phrase, the silent killers of dating, what comes to mind?
Well, first of all, the operative word is silent. It's
Mhm.
silent because when you think of the word silent, it makes this topic very important because it's not something that's usually dramatic that happens. It's not something that's major a lot of times. They're the little habits, they're the assumptions that people make, they're the conversations that we avoid. I'm really big on communication, and sometimes we avoid communicating and getting those questions answered. They're also the inconsistencies. And so they don't destroy a dating connection overnight. These are the kinds of things that kind of sneaks up on you, slowly chips away at your trust or your interest or your emotional connection until one day someone says, you know what? I just don't think this is a good fit. Or scarier than that, they just decide, you know what? I don't think this is going to work and don't even tell you. This is how a lot of people get ghosted. And the scary part is that most people never realize what's actually happening. And most dating connections don't die from the big explosions. They slowly fade away from a series of small things that were just never addressed.
Yeah. You know, when we thought about the topic, um, I always have examples, right? The first thing I thought about was mixed signals. And I know we talked about it. And I said that it was more than someone saying one thing and doing another.
Right.
It was when their actions create interest, but their behavior created uncertainty. And I
Mhm.
know you asked me, you were like, okay, explain that, right? And I thought about an example that I had because I remember before 22, went on a meet and greet, had a really nice time with someone. And one of the things he did, he called me every morning. He, talked through the day, called me every evening, talked about things to do and get together after we met each time. But every time his behavior made me feel uncertain.
Mhm.
And for example, I think I told you we went to I don't want to say a club, but like a jazz club.
Mhm.
And he was sitting with his hands like tucked between his legs and sat real stiff, like, please don't touch me. It was really odd. And I remember walking out of the club and they were taking pictures so that they could put it on social media. And he was real quick to say, we're not a couple. We're not a couple. We're just friends. And I know I'm going to tell my age now, but back in the day when you take that club pose and you
Right.
that's what he did. And I was standing there like, now again, we shouldn't have been booed up, but it was odd. It was like, someone asking, are you sure you like me? Do you
Right.
need to see something here? Are you sure
You
I'm
asking me out, but you don't want to take pictures with me.
right? It was so weird. And I remember saying to him, even though he was cool as hell, I mean, cool as the other side of the pillow, right? That you don't like me like that. And I
Right.
was looking for a friend.
Right.
So, that was one of the things that those mixed signals
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah. I remember you coming saying, you like, Conte, I don't think he likes me like that. Like, he keeps asking me out, but something about it is like when we're out, we're like partners or something.
Right. I don't know if you remember, I said he kissed me on my forehead. I was like, you kiss little sisters and puppies on their forehead. What is happening?
Well, it was the way he kissed you on your forehead. A forehead kiss can be very endearing, but it was the way he kissed you on your forehead. Good night. See you later.
I mean, oh,
welcome everybody. I like to see people in the chat. Good to see everyone over there. I see Mimi and Shepherd, and please, if you're watching, let us know that you're watching. Say hello. Hit that like button, all of that, comment, and all of those things, because a lot of times we see we can't see who's on here. We don't actually see you make comments, and then share this information, great information, with your family members and friends. And glad to see you all there. Thank you for saying hi to us. One of the big silent killers of dating that I constantly observe is comparison.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes, when nobody can compete with what you're comparing them to, because you may be comparing them to something on social media, somebody's perfect vacation, somebody's perfect, all the 5,000 dozens of flowers somebody may have received, or their proposal was hanging out of a helicopter. Who knows? And that perfect date. Oh, they had a perfect date, and all of these different things. And they're looking for the perfect partner when they're dating, because they're comparing. And suddenly you end up looking for something that is really not there. And the person that is there is not enough. But you're comparing real life experiences to somebody or something that is curated and highlighted on a reel, and may not even be, of course, accurate. It doesn't show the whole picture or the whole situation. So sometimes people will post all of these different things, and we're wondering, oh my gosh, or your date may be wondering, oh my gosh, why haven't you done that for me? Or why aren't we doing those things? And it's not even something that you should be comparing to. Comparison can make a good connection really look inadequate, simply because it doesn't match up to somebody else's situation. And so I always say, make sure you do the comparison, because it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen just through social media. A lot of times it happens with comparing to your ex. Well, what your ex used to do, or how your ex used to be, or comparing to your neighbor, the relationship you've seen them with. And a lot of times that's just fantasy. That's fantasy. And in all, or comparing yourself to the fantasy, comparing your date person or the person you're going out with to the fantasy that's in your head that you have created. And so the biggest problem with that is you don't want to make someone audition against a person who isn't even really in the room, who really isn't there. It's really not actual. And so I'm actually evaluating this person and comparing them to somebody that doesn't exist, or a situation that may not even exist.
You said social media. Social media is a killer of a lot of things.
It's a killer.
And I know you're being kind, because I always say, let's talk to men and women. But I mean, women are really, really, really bad at it. We can be really bad at that. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's huge. Huge.
Mm.
One of the things that I thought about when you said that was the placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
I think I always say, if you've ever lost something, then found it, would you keep looking for it? We talk all the time about you having
I like that. That's good.
Very valuable, right? Doing all the things that you would like them to do, but you're not really interested in a person, but you're not letting them go either. They might be kind. They might treat you well. Maybe you're lonely. Maybe they're giving you that attention, but just because it's, it's not the right person, but the right person for right now. And I would say that kills it,
Yeah.
because we should man up or woman up. We should be man enough to just say, you know what, as nice as you are, as kind as you are, I, I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just not the one for me.
Right. And yeah, and you're right. Just don't keep dragging something on. Let the person know. We always talk about being honest and being open. I want to throw this up here. I just want to add this. It was really Shepherd says, a man that don't want to touch you, move on.
Well, we know touch too soon. We're not looking for a lot of extra, but like you described, it was a weird one. And if you feel this insecurity, and I mean of uncertainty, that's the best word to use. If you're uncertain and you've gone out enough times, 3-4 times, that probably isn't a good match.
Right. That is your message.
Yeah, that's the message. And like I talked about the placeholder, people are investing emotionally in things. And eventually, they may feel you didn't just reject me, you used me, which then kind of overflows to the next relationship. So if you can't reciprocate someone else's feelings, continuing to give them just enough attention to keep them around, kind. And it really is, what's that? That's avoidance of just having a conversation and being fearful of that.
Yeah. And then sometimes they like exactly what it is. Like, this is all they want. They want to take you out, or they want to be out with you, or it could be a woman that want to be taken out. Like you said, this is all they want. And the other person, whether it's a fit male or the female, but the other person knows that they're looking for something more. So even in that case, it's still the same thing. You're just a placeholder, but this is fine for them. Some people that it's just okay with. We've talked about that before. I've known someone that if I had kept going out with that person, they were absolutely fine with the way it was, because they didn't want any more. They didn't want anything different. They didn't want anything past what we had. So yeah, you want to be careful, because that definitely killed that dating process. The other thing too is, you said something about touching and not touching too soon. And that is my next one. Unrealistic pacing, so expecting too much too soon is a huge killer for dating, because you want to connect beautifully with someone. You don't want to start off so fast. My saying is, slow is the new sexy, because you want to take the time and get to know one another and stop locking in so fast. So many people are locking in so fast. And I've had men to tell me a lot lately that the women are the ones that's trying to lock in really fast. I was like, really? Yes. Oh, they're ready. They're like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I don't know if it's because, again, we are talking to our empty nesters. We are talking to our second time arounders. We are talking to our widowers and widows. And so maybe it's just that they're like, okay, wait, I've been waiting this long, or I know what I want. But you want to still make sure that you don't lock in so quickly. You've been dating 3 weeks and you already evaluating them like they've been your partner for 3 years. So why haven't you introduced me to your family? And why don't we do this or do that when you're still in the dating stage, or getting to know one another stage, or gathering information stage? So, dating takes time to breathe and get to know one another. And you can really kill a good quality, potentially quality relationship by moving too fast, or unexpected, unrealistic pacing, moving too slow.
That part. Well, I'm going to throw in
taking forever to get to the next stage.
That part.
Now, like, wait a minute. We've been doing this for a long time, and some people will date forever to get. Then that should kill the dating relationship too, because you want to make sure that you're not You're not demanding too much on a relationship very quickly, and then you're not tarrying, as my grandmother used to say, tarrying around with somebody who's, thinking this is gonna be to 20 years from now. We're gonna still be dating.
So let's put some numbers to that, right? Because you were talking about a couple of things. I have to throw this in. If you're, about 90 days in, 60, 90 days, you should be talking about exclusivity, right? And if you're 3 weeks, 1 week in, and they're trying to push that physical part too soon, my thing is they trying to lock you in because there's nothing more about them. They give you the whole
female or male.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me lock you down. Let me show you the best of what I have, so you'll be ready and take me. And then once you kind of get that physical part in there and you start that a little too soon, you'll miss all of the other bad qualities that I have. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So very good point. I think I think part of what I was talking about, even when I said a placeholder, it is being too nice to tell the truth. We talked before about the difference between being kind and being nice.
Yes.
But not being able to say, I don't think we're a romantic fit. And people really kind of let things drag on because they're unsure of that. And I told you one instance, but I had another instance that said, I just said, I don't think you like me like that. And they were shocked that I was able to say that. I mean, if a person likes you or not. Just moving along on in it. And maybe people do it because they haven't had any likes or matches in a while. And so they just kind of want to hang around with someone.
And then I want to say this, the opposite to that too, Demi. You can feel like, oh, you are such a romantic fit.
Yeah.
But then there's nothing else.
That part.
Oh, everything is all romantic and wonderful, but there's nothing else. So that's the same. Either you're not a romantic fit and some of the things may be going well, or nothing else is happening that like you have on your standards or desires or your non-negotiables, but it's so romantic and it's such a romantic fit. Those are the things that are silent killers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to go to the chat. Someone was saying, yeah, you said expecting too much, moving too slow, going to eventually get played out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How funny. And Shepard said, I kissed a lady on the top of her head once and she never talked to me again. Exactly. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that.
Oh my God, y'all are hilarious. That's true though. She was done. She was done after that. She was like, "Come to he gave me a kiss on the forehead and put me in the car."
So oh, my apologies.
I was just like, well, maybe she's trying to, move a little slower than normal,
So I will throw in another one I thought about is not being curious enough about the other person.
And tell me about that. What do you mean?
A lot of times we have these questions, which, I was just going to say, and just the opposite of that is treating someone like they're, under a microscope with the light on them and that you're interviewing them, which is really uncomfortable. But when you're not curious about them, and I think that is putting in a little more time. And I don't mean seeing each other all the time, but really wanting to know something about them. Sometimes we're so wrapped up in ourselves, and especially if we're empty nesters, especially, when we've been kind of by ourselves for some time, and a lot of us work from home. And when you finally get an opportunity to talk to someone, all you want to do is talk about yourself. and you're not open to listening and being curious about the other person and kind of some of the things that they enjoy doing.
Right. Right. And that's a silent killer. Yeah, definitely. It's all about you, and you don't want to find out about the person, or the person don't want to find out about you. They're just talking about them. Yeah, that could definitely be. Yeah, I went out with someone doing these dating stages. I don't know, number 12 or something like that. We try to keep our numbers right, and I can understand this being a topic of conversation. The person had sick mom and sick brother, but that's all we talked about. Every time we talked, it was about, because he was a caretaker, and I get that. Well, then you're probably not really ready to date yet, because he never really got to know anything about me. I never really got to know anything about him, because it was always about what happened during the caretaking time. And I get that, but that just means that definitely was a silent dating killer. And it did not.
He needed an ear. He was looking for someone just kind of to vent and listen.
And I do that all day, every day.
So let me think.
That's my job. That's what I do every day. Listen to people bitch.
So I would also say, because you started off a little bit about social media, one of those silent killers are distracted by your phone. And I'll give one example, and I know you have another one, but you be out, guys our age, it used to be cool when you had a beeper, you got your work phone, you got your personal phone, you lay them all out, you sit down at the bar. I know I sat down at the bar with someone, and he laid out all these phones, and I guess it was supposed to show he was important, but he was monitoring his phone, or a watch is going off the whole time, and ding, ding, and alerts. And it was, yeah.
Well, let me say this. I think last week we talked about those things that, that comes kind of with the territory. those things that are luggage instead of baggage. Well, that might be one of my luggages, because of the business that I'm in. I'm saying this just in case, number right now is listening, because I'm constantly having that phone. But it's because I have a lot of crisis things going on with clients. And so sometimes, Demi, it is actually literally legit.
We're going to agree on that one. Because if I go out with you the first time and you got all that laid out, you constantly looking at your phone.
It was terrible. The first time I had a client that was escaping a huge situation. So it was Sarah. I had to apologize. It was bad. Also, let me say this. Let me add this one up here. Tanya says, I'm in the travel industry, and men ask me about free travel for themselves very quickly. Definitely a dating killer.
Buddy pass, please.
Do you know my middle name? Do you know my favorite color? Look, you haven't earned any access to me, let alone my travel benefits. Yeah, I need my no button. But that's another thing too. That would be definitely a silent killer. Somebody that's trying to capitalize on something that you may bring to the table.
Yeah.
And they haven't even, like you said, invested communicating with you, or time with you, or getting to know you. So that's a good one. That's absolutely a silent dating killer.
So let me share one, and I know you can relate and talk about this just probably through clients and coaching. We can. When you are focusing so much on whether they like you, that you forget to ask yourself whether you like
them. Yeah. Good one, Demi. Good one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you like them? Yeah. Exactly. That's a great one. That's a silent killer. And when you talk about focusing on do they like you, or if you like them, a lot of times, definitely I see this in clientele. Mm-hmm. You are overanalyzing so much that you miss the things that you do like. Like You've overanalyzed. They do this too much, or they don't do this well enough, or they do this. This is going on. And like, what do you really like? Like, have you overanalyzed so much that you literally have missed out on things that you could possibly be enjoying or that you like? Sometimes we want to make sure that we're not just over constantly analyzing the person and you're not getting to know all the wonderful parts of the person.
I appreciate that because I was going to say when you don't give the other person room to just be themselves.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And
And so,
any questions out there? I actually had some questions, and y'all have to excuse me because I didn't print them out. Demi, do you have any?
oh, go on, because I was going to say one last quick crazy story, if I may.
Go ahead, because I didn't print the questions out. I thought I did. I'm looking for them. So for those who wrote me those questions, who wrote us those questions, we may get to them next week. But if you have some, please pop it in. Somebody, let me say what Tremaine says. One phone, maybe two phones max. More than that is too much for me. They don't have time for me. That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. Well, it's only one phone on mine.
You got one phone.
I got one phone.
And let's just add this in. If you talking about your ex the whole time,
oh God, killer.
I have to remember going out on one of the first dates, you know, in the beginning, and for an hour and a half, we stood in the parking lot after brunch or lunch, and he talked about his ex-wife
constantly. I mean, period.
No, for an hour and a half.
Oh my God. Oh, excuse me. No. Oh my goodness. He was not over his ex-wife.
And then he said, "This is our 10-year divorce anniversary coming up."
Oh my God. They've been divorced 10 years and she still gets an hour and a half his time. That poor lady messed him up. That poor man was messed up.
Like, you ain't trying to be on no date with me.
10 years later. Definitely a silent killer. So we have to look at these things, you know, because sometimes we're looking for the red flags. We're looking for the deal breakers. You know, this is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see no deal breakers. I don't see no red flags. But there are other small things that really, really over time will be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Or I need to say something about this. Or all of a sudden it hits you like, this is something that bothers me because you didn't address it or you just kept letting it quietly go over or under the table.
You know, we always say, really the goal of the first date isn't to decide if that's your person. Not the first, second, third, fourth, okay? It's really to decide if there's enough connection to have a second conversation. You know, I say this all the time. 22 and I always said this to each other in the beginning, you know, do I like you enough that I want to talk to you tomorrow?
Right. And then tomorrow, when you talk to him tomorrow, do I like you enough that I want to talk to you tomorrow again? Yeah, you know,
right. or more. I want to know more about you.
One day at a time.
Mm-hmm. One day at a time. And that's really what it's all about. Do I want to know more about you the next day?
Yeah. Dr. Smith says also waiting for something bad to happen because of past hurts. You fail to enjoy the good. That is a silent killer. That's right. You know, sometimes our nervous system will say, this is too good to be true. Or, okay, what's next? Or, okay, when is the ball going to drop? And you're waiting on the ball to drop, and then you miss out on the ride, so to speak. You know, thinking about what about the destination not working, and then you miss the ride of the destination. So good point.
Yeah. So did you have any other questions for us?
I do not. I just want you all to ask yourself, you know, am I guilty of some of these things that we just discussed? Because we often talk about gathering information from others And a
Mhm.
lot of times we need to gather information about ourselves because we're all in this dating thing. We're all in this dating thing. And so, what am I? Am I doing some of these dating killers? Is it something that Demi and Dr. Conti said that I'm actually guilty of? And if so, you know, as the old folks say, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah. Yeah. And if this conversation spoke to you, be sure to follow and join the Dating Differently Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube page, and follow both of us on our social media platforms. And join us next week. We're going to have a great episode for you to hear then.
Yes.
As we continue to really give strategies to date with clarity, move with intention, choose with confidence, and we look forward to continuing to help you love intentionally, heal completely,
Yes.
and date
Date
differently.
differently. Good night, everybody. You all have a blessed and phenomenal rest of the week.
See you next week with all your friends. Bye.